Start your week with a triple shot of good vibes. This is the Project Joy podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thanks for joining me. And now it's time for this week's story of joy. This week's story comes with so much gratitude, and really that's all this is going to be, is gratitude, because if you remember my episode 3 of the podcast, Joy in Grief, I talked about the untimely passing of my brother Adam, and we talked about how you can find joy in a season of grief, but also it really allowed me the space to share about experiences that I had with him and what an awesome person he was. So first and foremost, I really want to offer some gratitude to everyone who reached out after that episode and just sent good vibes, and also those who knew Adam and shared their experiences with him, their stories about him. It was so nice to reconnect with people and also hear your perspective on the time that you spent with him as well. As I mentioned in the episode, one of the things that we do for the anniversary of his death is we wear black and yellow, and we ask everybody that knew him and everybody that has spent time with him, and even everybody that didn't know him, to just wear black and yellow and help us honor his life. And it's really interesting with that, because some people will say, what does colors have to do with anything? Why would you do that? And then the other part of it, he's been gone for 10 years now. Why is this still significant? And what it does for me is it reminds me of things. It will jog my memory. It will remind me throughout the day, hey, think of a great memory of him, and it helps me to celebrate his life every single year. And while he often comes up in my thoughts several times a year, not just on the day he died or on the day he was born, but it helps me to be more intentional about it, to say, okay, this doesn't need to be the forefront of my mind 24/7, 7 days a week, that I can be more intentional about my memories and about going down that rabbit hole of grief, if you will. But at any rate, I love wearing the colors. They were his favorite colors, black and yellow. He was a Steelers fan, and he also just loved those colors. And yellow also is the main color for the Live Strong foundation. And when he was going through his cancer, yellow became something that he wore all the time. He had a Live Strong shirt, he had a bracelet, and it was yellow and his favorite colors, and it just sort of tied in. And black is also the color for melanoma awareness. So it just sort of all fit. And at any rate, we wear them on the day that he died every year for me, it's to give that reminder, And so it was really cool to see everybody in their black and yellow. It always warms my heart to see the people that wear it that didn't know him, and that are out to support me or my mom or my kids or other people in my family or Adam's friends. And that really shows, such a beautiful part of friendship, that they didn't know him. They didn't have to know him, but they do it to support us. And it's such a beautiful, amazing thing to experience that every single year. It was also really cool to see some of Adam's friends go out to his favorite bar in Groton, Connecticut. Shout out to Sneakers Cafe. And have a drink there in his honor. And it's just really cool to see everybody showing up year after year, especially for me to get to see the pictures of that, because I don't live locally anymore. But I just wanted to give this story of joy today as a great big thank you. Thank you so much to everyone who reached out. Thank you so much to those of you who listened to episode 3 and said, hey, I've been in a season of grief and it was so helpful for me. And all who participated, all who sent love. Thank you so much for that. This has been a story of joy, and we'll be back in a moment with the rest of the Project Joy podcast.
Attention coaches. Are you ready to get 10 or more paying clients every month without spending hours a day on social media, running ads, knowing tech, or begging ever? Then maybe it's time for you to consider starting a podcast. You need to talk to my friends Adam and Shoshana Chaim today over at the Vegan Podcast Academy. You can find more information at veganpodcastacademy.com and be sure to tell them you heard it on Project Joy. And now back to the podcast. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Project Joy podcast. I'm so excited to have you back here, and I'm even more excited today because tomorrow is my birthday. Yes, I am accepting all gifts and monetary contributions this month. I am so excited to be celebrating another year on this earth, and shout out to all my fellow Aquarians out there. I am actually a part of this really fun group on Facebook called Aquarius Island. It's so silly, and but it's been really fun the last couple of weeks to see everybody's posts of saying, hey, today's my birthday, and everybody else finding their birthday twins. And it's so fun to have that, that common ground with someone. You could be across the miles living a completely different life, but there's something, I don't know, fun and magical and amazing about finding your birthday twin. And I was very lucky growing up to have a couple of them. So when I was a freshman in high school, I was going to St. Bernard's in Uncasville, Connecticut at the time. And I met two girls who are such a big who are such a big part of my life. And so Sarah and Beth, big shout out to you guys and happy birthday to you as well. And it's really interesting because the places that we're at in our lives now are so different, but we had so much in common when we met, including our birthdays. And so we were all in the same homeroom. We were all, had the same backpack. Our last names went ABC. We were into the same things. We were in choir together, and we were in student council, president, vice president, and secretary. And we were into drama, and we were into a lot of the same things. And it was so cool and so fun to have that camaraderie, to have that, that common ground with someone. In fact, we were all born at 11 something. And so it was just so much fun to find those commonalities in each other. And now we live very different lives, but looking back on that time we spent together in high school, and we used to go out every year for our birthdays. It was just so much fun. And so I always sort of remember that energy, and I'm in that energy when I meet someone else who also has the same birthday as me. I also tend to get those same kind of synchronistic giggles as well when I'm talking about astrology too. Finding another Aquarius is a lot of fun, and so that's why I had to give a shout out to all my Aquarians in the beginning of this podcast. So I think back to all of the ways that I've celebrated my birthday throughout the years and how much fun each one was that I can remember. And I remember having lots of great birthdays as a child and doing different things. And I remember having a birthday at a roller skating rink, which was a lot of fun. I've got lots of pictures too. I'll have to do some posts on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Project Joy podcast. I'll do some birthday pictures there, some flashback birthday pictures. But I remember doing one at a roller skating rink. I had one that was so much fun. I remember my 13th birthday being a blast. My mom used to we used to have a clubhouse over the pool in the condos that we lived in, and my mom used to reserve that, and I could have a party up there. My 13th birthday was so much fun. I've got pictures from that. I'm sure I'll show on our Facebook page as well. And then my 16th birthday as well, I remember being just a blast. And just having lots of friends. We would go out and play basketball, and we'd be dancing and karaoke, and of course, the gifts and stuff are fun as well. But it's really fun to think back on those times, and it makes me a little bit nostalgic. It makes me think about the people that I'm still in touch with from that time, and people that I wish I was still in touch with, and how our lives have changed and how they're different. And I think that's such a joyful thing about birthdays, is to have that nostalgia, to make you think and reflect on things. And I also think that that's why some people may not necessarily enjoy birthdays. I've seen a couple of those posts in that Aquarius group on Facebook of people saying, I really just don't enjoy my birthday. Am I the only one? And I don't think that people are alone in that. I think it brings up a lot of things. It brings up memories that they may or may not want to have. It brings up the idea of life purpose, of what's my life really about, and what am I supposed to do here. And it can bring up thoughts of our mortality. It can bring up the fact that, I'm here for another year, but I'm not guaranteed this year. Wasn't guaranteed last year. I made it, but I'm not guaranteed the next year. And so it can bring up a lot of hard questions and things, and make us really contemplate life. And I think that's why a birthday can be difficult. I shared in episode 4 about the loss of my brother, and he was 24 when he died. And every year on his birthday in May, we celebrate his life. We do random acts of kindness in his honor. And I share more about that in episode 4 or episode 3, excuse me, of Project Joy podcast. And it's fun to celebrate the life of even someone that's not here for their birthday. It's fun to celebrate. I think it's fun to celebrate your own birthday and celebrate the birthdays of other people. And I guess the message that I really want to spread for my birthday this year is to just encourage everybody to know that even if you don't know what your life purpose is. I mean, I believe we're all here for a reason. I believe that we all have a deep meaning to our lives. You may not agree with that. You may not, align with that thought, but I believe that we're all here for a reason. And we're all meant to learn different things, and there's a purpose to our lives. And even if you don't know what that is, even if you don't know what that purpose is lean into the fact that you do have a purpose. And eventually you might get it. Maybe you'll never get it, but just enjoy your life for what it is. Enjoy things in the moment. And know that things are exactly how they're supposed to be right now. And you'll figure it out eventually. Celebrate how you're going to in the moment. Just choose to celebrate, though. Things are going to change. Your life is going to change. Things aren't always going to stay the same. You do get older, but choose to enjoy the moment and find the joy in your birthday. And if you have other feelings other than joy come up on your birthday, examine why you have those feelings about birthdays, about those feelings about yourself, and then choose to just go have fun anyway. Enjoy it. Find someone to celebrate with. The really cool thing is, in this group that I'm in on Facebook, is that many people have said, no one said happy birthday to me. I'm not doing anything fun, and I'm not celebrating. No one's celebrating me. I encourage you to go when you're on Facebook. Okay, it comes up with who has birthdays today. go on there and celebrate their birthday with them every time something pops up, because you never know, they could be alone, they could not have anybody else that are celebrating their birthday with them, and you could be the one thing that brings a smile to their face. So I want to finish today's episode by sending a birthday to every single person everywhere who needs it, because you're not always guaranteed that someone's going to say happy birthday, but I want you to know that I think you're important. I think you're special. I think you're amazing. And I wish you, no matter when you listen to this, where you listen to this, I wish you the best year ever, and happy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Do you have an amazing moment of joy you've experienced in your life? Tell us about it by emailing us at projectjoypodcast@gmail.com. And now, back to the podcast. Next week on the Project Joy podcast. So we've got a holiday coming up, and some people love it and some people hate it. How could someone hate a holiday about love? Well, you'll hear my take on it and much more in our next episode, Joy in Love. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take a moment to rate, subscribe, comment, and share where available. And until next time, make joy a priority in your life today and every day. I'll see you next time. You've been listening to the Project Joy podcast with your host, Jessica Dugas. We'll see you again next Monday and every Monday for another episode to start your week off right.